Itabia is the scientific coordinator of the activities of the enabling project and has collaborated closely with Federico Nacoma for the organization of this conference. Just a recommendation, the expected duration of the works is very limited, and the time allocated to us doesn't allow to extend it. For such a reason, I ask all the speakers to keep strictly within the established times, and I apologize in advance if I have to request the closure of any presentation. After saying that, I will not dwell on the aims and results of enabling project, which will be described in detail by the speakers. But I just wanted to remind you that the reference context in which the project moves, which is that of the bioeconomy, is of fundamental importance for the future of Europe and of the whole world, and represents one of the pillars of the Green Deal, with which the European Union intends to win the challenge of the sustainability of production activity, agriculture, industry, and energy, and guarantee a better future for all. For this reason, I immediately pass the word to the first speaker, Professor Fabio Fava, who is the Italian representative to the European Commission in the Horizon 2020, who will talk us about the European vision of the circular economy. Please, Fabio, you have 15 minutes available for your speech.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. Thanks to you and Dr. Pezzini for the invitation. And congratulations for the project. That on the basis of the info that I have, I'm sure we remarkably contribute to the growth of and the enabling sequence of next steps of bioeconomy, in particular circular bioeconomy in Europe. I try to talk to you about bioeconomy, circular bioeconomy, and what is coming, in particular in Europe. So the European view on the topic. 1 second that I'm trying to share the screen with you, and then I go with my presentation. I hope that you can see it now.
Yeah.
Slides. Thank you very much.
It's okay.
So first of all, bioeconomy. We are referring many times to bioeconomy, but it's also quite important to set in the scene. Bioeconomy is consisting of several sectors: agriculture, livestock, fishery, aquaculture, and the food industry, which is the most important industry that we have in the field of bioeconomy, which is processing, of course, food biomass for making food and beverage. And then we have all the other sectors producing non-food biomass. So agriculture, once again, but forestry, the coastal agroforestry, the other activities associated with the sea, and then the industry that is processing non-food biomass, wood industry, pulp and paper industry, and in particular biorefineries, which is converting non-food biomass and residues for producing a number of novel, innovative products, chemical material and energy that have huge interest in many prominent sectors, industrial sectors in Europe and in Italy. Pharma, the cosmetic sector, textile, the chemical sector, and energy sector. And we also have the bio-waste and wastewater exploitation, other large volumes of biomass, and non-food biomass, of course, coming from the cities. All this together is making in Europe 2.3 trillion euros of turnover per year, 18 million of jobs. In Italy, we also have an interesting scenario, 330 billion euros per year, 2 million of jobs. These are number 2017, 2018, we have new numbers that is indicating that these sectors are growing remarkably. But in addition to this prominent economical and employment impacts, the bioeconomy is offering very interesting benefits on the environmental and social point of view. We know very well that forestry sees some mitigating CO2 availability in our environment, and because they are assimilating them. But also the bio-based value chains are producing chemical material with lower CO2 production with respect to the conventional pathways fed with the petroleum. The bioeconomy is also producing biodegradable plastics that are then not longer persisting in the environment, but on the contrary, bringing carbon back to the soil. But also, again, bioeconomy is also disposing bio-waste and wastewater for producing clean water, byproducts, and organic matter, digested organic matter that we can use for restoring soils. And very importantly, bioeconomy is also restoring biodiversity and ecosystems, regenerating areas, forest, rural, coastal, and also former industrial areas. It is also very interesting, according to very prominent experts, for preventing future zoonosis. On the social point of view, it is producing food for all, along with water and other essential products, healthy ecosystem services, but also new jobs in rural areas, coastal areas, where no other companies can go and create opportunities. The systems is also quite resilient, very close to the territory, and therefore more resilient, more able to exploit local specificity and the reaction of local community. These are very, very important features of bioeconomy, and they were clear already some years ago, 2005, 2006, 2007, when the Commission was designing the FP7 system. FP7 system was then monitored, and in 2012, the Commission decided to analyze what were the results of FP7 program, and by launching the first bioeconomy strategy, in which they decided to work in a way to ensure food security, so improve, make sure that food could be enough for Europe and for the worldwide level, but also to move as much as it was possible out from petroleum for producing bio-based products and materials and fuels from biomass, non-food biomass, and then to start exploiting the resources coming from the sea and the oceans that are covering 70% of the surface of our planet. And those priorities has been carefully implemented through the Horizon 2020, in particular to the societal challenge to which supported research and innovation in all the sectors that I mentioned, in all three major pillars that I mentioned to you, with an overall budget of 3.8 billion euros for the 7 years. But some activities, others associated with the biofuel production and the other on bio-waste exploitation has been funded through the Societal Challenge 3 and Societal Challenge 5. Around 2015, we realized that it was very important to look at the circularity. And the first package on circular economy came out indeed in that period. And from that period, the Commission tried to work more closely to the point of circularity, also in the larger domain of bioeconomy. Here you have a typical graph that is showing circular economy concepts. The bioeconomy is the one presented here in this piece of the graph, where we have the conversion of, we have the production of biomass first, and then the conversion of biomass into products, and this through the food and drink industry, but also the bio-based industry that we are describing more closely today. These industries need to be more efficient producing more products and less waste. This is very important point. And also produce the product by using less energy, less water. Then logistics, for managing more carefully and more efficiently the products coming from the companies. For example, food distribution in our cities. But also reproject, redesign products. This is true also for the food industry, but in particular for the bio-based sector. We need to produce products that can be long for a longer time on the market, and that can be also better recyclable at the end of the day life. But then the Commission focused a lot of attention on the valorization of the byproducts and waste. They had to be less than before, but the waste, the byproducts generated in any case, had to be valorized efficiently through different pathways, through by-waste, biorefinery concept, to produce valuable products and also organic carbon that is returning to the soil for sustaining agriculture, forestry, the productivity, the production of the biomass from which we are starting from. In that process, we are also fixing CO2. So a number of actions came later after 2015 in order to boost this concept of circularity in the European actions put on place in that period. And the public-private partnership bio-based industry, which is mobilizing 3.7 billion euros, 70% of them are coming from private sector, did a lot of work here by sustaining the transfer of knowledge, by sustaining the scale-up of biorefineries in general. And after 2015, a lot of bio-waste biorefineries has been revised, reinforced, and put on place. From 2014 to 2008, IJU funded over 100 by mobilizing 600 million euros of public money and 1.75 billion of private money. You see here a lot of activities around Europe in all member states. The 9 flagships has been launched with the 2018 call. 7 were already running, and you see the impacts of the biorefinery, the flagships, new biorefineries that has been put in place by BBIJU in Europe. And Italy was very present, is very present in these actions. And we have the first flagship funded. That was the Porto Torres initiative, first run. But then many other projects has been funded. Very often they were demo projects in which we tested, we optimized by-waste biorefinery process ongoing. And 46% of the beneficiaries of those topics, those projects funded, are from SMEs. And also public actors, but not the common one, but cluster, technology parks, etc., are involved in the funded projects. But we had to do more for being more sustainable in all the sectors of bioeconomy. After that period, it became clear that we had to be more efficient in producing biomass, in transforming biomass, as I mentioned to you, but also to be more circular. But in each of these sectors, reducing waste, reusing byproducts that we have on place. But very importantly also, especially in the primary production, the regeneration of biodiversity, ecosystems, very important for promoting a healthier production of biomass. And then, of course, quality of products. We need to better identify the products that we are making and protecting them from imitations, promoting the products through a number of actions. These are among the most important priorities that became clear in Europe during that period, 2015, 2016. Another clear point was that it was very important to interconnect the sectors in a way that all biomass, also that coming from rural areas or abandoned areas that do not have opportunities. Also, those biomass has to have an opportunities if it is very well connected with biorefineries, for example. But also the biowaste coming all from all these first producing sectors can have these opportunities if they are very well connected to biorefineries. But also important to connect biorefinery with all the other sectors. Bioplastics, biocompostable bioplastics can be prepared from biowaste, but they are very, very important for example, the marine and maritime sectors, where we can, using them, we can prevent marine litter. Very important for fishery sector, for the same reason. Very important in agriculture for preparing film. We can use films for what we have to do, but after that, that plastics are degraded and providing carbon to the soil. And also in the food sector, interesting packaging prepared by using biocompostable plastics. And this way to go is creating basically value chains that are longer and better rooted in the territories where we can create opportunities, especially in the rural, coastal areas, and so on. So the areas in which we need new opportunities, but also, of course, the circularity. But for doing all of this, so create more sustainability, protect the products, interconnect the sectors, what you need to do is to, first of all, interconnect the actors, public and private actors that are playing within each of these sectors. But it's also very important, of course, to interconnect the ministries and the local ministries, the regional ministers. In Italy, we have 21 different regions on place. So the idea is to bring this actor together, and we did this exercise at the national level. We brought together the clusters, the technology clusters of work in the agri-food, the green chemistry, and blue growth. We brought this together with the Minister for Industrial Development of the 21 regions and that we have in our country, the Italian Agency for Cohesion, and also the Director General of 4 different ministries. And we brought all these actors together at the Presidency of Council of Ministry, where we launched the National Bioeconomy Coordination Board. This happened in 2016. We prepared the first bioeconomy strategy, in which altogether we set the actions to put in place, those that I mentioned to you. And 2 years ago, last year actually, we revised it. We prepared the revised bioeconomy strategy. And this year we prepared the implementation action plan with specific actions to put on place. This was the national exercise that we did. But of course, the Commission also now, the Horizon 2020 is almost at the end. So the Commission analyzed what the Horizon was producing and the critical points, the new opportunities to put on place. And in 2018, they published a revised version of the bioeconomy strategy by highlighting the role of regions, of the countries, but also the role of rural, coastal, urban areas, the ones that I mentioned to you, the role of circularity, but also the ecological limitation to what we are doing, because some of the bioeconomy practices are linear and not always circular, for example. Very important point. 10 countries in Europe have a national bioeconomy strategy. And yesterday, exactly yesterday, the European Commission launched the European Bioeconomy Policy Forum, in which all countries, especially those with a national strategy, we will work together for sharing their needs, their opportunities, sharing best experiences, sharing best practices, and growing together, pushing bioeconomy in an integrated manner a European level. Also for locating bioeconomy in the proper way in the frame of European Green Deal, that we know is a very important package. For the first time, we have many priorities on which we are working already, but all together with a clear view, which is the one of being to have Europe carbon neutral by 2050. And through a number of actions that you know improve circularity in the industry, have clear energy, but also efficient buildings, infrastructures, smarter mobility, and lower impact on the environment. And we are coming to our core fields, preventing and restoring ecosystem and biodiversity, and value chains, the food, agri-food value chains, but also the bio-based value chains, more efficient with lower impacts on the ecosystems. And we have in this area key roles as a bioeconomy, but we have bioeconomy also in the other part. What is very important is that this package is including new policies, specific policies, farm pork, biodiversity policies, but also the implementation action plan on circular bioeconomy. But also this package is also addressing a lot of coming investments. We know that on the Green Deal, the Commission will allocate 1,000 billions, etc., etc. So we know the larger numbers. But for sure, 35% of the coming Horizon Europe will be focused on the Green Deal priority. 35% of the 85.5 billion euros that has been allocated to the coming new program. And we will have here another pillar focused on bioeconomy in the broad view that I mentioned to you, very relevant pillar, with much more money than Societal Challenge 2 of Horizon 2020, but we will have also opportunity of reinforcing bioeconomy priority through the missions, healthy ocean, sea, coastal, inland water, but also the other one on soil health and food, and also partnerships. For our public-private, BBIJU will continue, but also other public-public partnerships that has been planned for sustainable bioeconomy in Europe. So we will have an interesting continuation of bioeconomy actions, and of course they have to be more sustainable, they have to be more circular, as we mentioned I tried to mention during my intervention. Thank you very much for your attention. The PowerPoint presentation is for you. I try to stay in the 15 minutes. I hope to succeed on this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Fava. You have just 3 minutes more, but your presentation was very, very interesting and beautiful, and I think it will be the best introduction to the following presentations and the work of this meeting. So I thank you again, and now I would like to introduce the second speaker, Anna Ragnozzi. She is from the Italian Council for Agricultural Research and Analysis of the Agricultural Economy, and she's the representative of the National Rural Network, and will tell us about the role of agriculture for sustainable development in the framework of bioeconomy. I also ask you, Anna, without wanting to be rude, to keep the duration of your intervention within the set times. Thanks, and please start your presentation.
Thank you, grazie a tutti, buongiorno. Io ho le slide in inglese, parlerò in italiano, spero ci sia, come mi avevano promesso, una traduzione. Chiederei per favore a chi ha ancora la condivisione dello schermo se può eliminarla, perché così io posso condividere le mie slide. Come si vede una condivisione? Chi ha la condivisione? Ecco, ok, grazie. Dicevo, come sono stata presentata, io sono ricercatore del CREA, del Consiglio per la ricerca in agricoltura, e lavoro sui temi dell'innovazione, delle politiche, dell'economia e in particolare dell'innovazione nell'ambito della rete rurale nazionale. Quindi il mio intervento sarà soprattutto rivolto a temi di politica e a temi legati strettamente all'innovazione. Condivido il mio schermo sperando che tutto funzioni. Ok. Riuscite a vedere la presentazione?
Ok.
Ok. Allora, come vi dicevo, a me è stato dato il compito di affrontare il tema del ruolo dell'agricoltura per lo sviluppo sostenibile e affronterò questo tema non in termini più tecnici, ma cercherò di inquadrarlo anche a causa del breve tempo dal punto di vista delle politiche e poi dall'ambito che più mi appartiene, che è quello dell'analisi del sistema della conoscenza e dell'innovazione. Farò rapidissimamente la prima parte perché il professor Fava ne ha già parlato. In termini di politiche europee, che l'agricoltura abbia un ruolo centrale nello sviluppo sostenibile è stato riconosciuto dall'European Green Deal che diciamo in qualche maniera delinea una strategia ampia che è quella di trasformare l'Europa in una società giusta e prospera che è dotata di un'economia moderna e efficiente e che nel 2050 non genererà emissioni nette di gas a effetto serra e in cui la crescita economica sarà dissociata dall'uso delle risorse. È un obiettivo molto ambizioso al quale, come ci diceva il professor Fava, devono cooperare tanti settori, tutti i settori produttivi dell'Unione Europea e perché questo avvenga è necessario mettere insieme un gruppo di politiche trasformative, tra cui, come vedete indicato in rosso, l'agricoltura ha sicuramente un ruolo fondamentale, gli è stato individuato un posto importante. C'è da dire che l'agricoltura, per esempio, soprattutto per quanto riguarda il suo effetto sul cambiamento climatico, dal 90, glielo riconosce lo stesso documento, dal 90 ha portato avanti un miglioramento di circa il 20%, ha ridotto di circa il 20% le emissioni climalteranti e quindi diciamo deve continuare su questa strada a svolgere il suo ruolo. Ma il documento che sicuramente cerca di far capire a livello europeo delle politiche quali possono essere all'interno del sistema agricolo e forestale gli interventi da apportare per essere perfettamente dentro il Green Deal, è il documento, la comunicazione della Commissione europea From Farm to Fork, che è stato approvato e pubblicato qualche mese dopo il Green Deal. E, naturalmente, siccome poi è stato approvato in un periodo come quello che abbiamo trascorso e che stiamo ancora trascorrendo, il documento nella sua introduzione individua questo concetto fondamentale, cioè la pandemia ha sottolineato come sia importante che ci sia un sistema alimentare robusto e resiliente. E quindi questo rende ancora più ragione al fatto che l'agricoltura ha un ruolo fondamentale nella sostenibilità, nello sviluppo sostenibile. Ma vediamo come. Allora, il documento From Farm to Fork naturalmente individua all'interno di tutto il sistema agroalimentare compiti di ciascun componente della filiera, di ciascun componente dell'ambito agroalimentare. Per quanto riguarda i produttori agricoli e forestali...
Sorry. I would remember all the participants to close their microphones, because there are some noises that creates problems to the communication. Please close your microphone. Ok, sorry.
Sì, dicevo, i produttori agricoli e forestali hanno ruoli e compiti diversi delineati all'interno di questo documento. Devono ridurre l'uso di pesticidi e nutrienti, le emissioni climalteranti, devono lavorare contro la resistenza microbica, devono investire in economia circolare, come abbiamo appena sentito, in energia rinnovabile, nella diversità e sicurezza delle sementi, nel benessere animale, nell'agricoltura biologica. Quindi per il sistema agricolo in senso stretto i compiti da portare avanti indicati da questo documento sono parecchi, ma naturalmente tutto il sistema dell'alimentazione deve assicurare una varia e sufficiente quantità di alimenti e di nutrienti alla popolazione in ogni situazione, quindi anche in situazioni drammatiche come quelle che abbiamo vissuto e stiamo vivendo, e anche tutti gli altri attori della catena agroalimentare devono realizzare una produzione più sostenibile e promuovere maggiori processi meno impattanti. Tutto questo naturalmente ci fa capire come sia importante il ruolo del sistema agroalimentare, ma forse un elemento che è importante far derivare dalla comunicazione From Farm to Fork è che questa comunicazione a metà circa affronta un tema importante, che è quello che mi ha fatto pensare molto strettamente al progetto di cui parliamo oggi, e che è il fatto di come accompagnare, di come supportare questa transizione, perché il Green Deal dà messaggi alti e impegnativi, il documento From Farm to Fork individua nel sistema agroalimentare un settore importante per aiutare a sviluppare la sostenibilità, ma tutto questo non può essere realizzato soltanto con dei finanziamenti, per quanto cospicui, all'intero sistema, perché cambi, perché si modifichi. È necessario qualcosa che in qualche maniera lo renda abile a vivere rapidamente questo cambiamento e questa transizione. E i fattori chiave già individuati dal documento della Commissione sono la ricerca, la tecnologia, l'innovazione, le infrastrutture digitali, l'educazione e la formazione ad ogni livello. Però è anche vero che va sottolineato, e questo in parte lo affronta anche il documento From Farm to Fork, ma diciamo è un dibattito che avviene a livello europeo proprio negli ambiti che si occupano di ricerca, innovazione e tecnologia. Non può essere necessario soltanto incentivare in una maniera pur che sia la ricerca, l'innovazione e la tecnologia. È necessario una strategia specifica ed in particolare l'approccio che si è ritenuto vincente per poter supportare questa transizione verso la sostenibilità è l'approccio detto sistemico o meglio ancora interattivo. Io ho riportato alcuni riferimenti bibliografici scientifici che supportano quanto sto dicendo, fatto sia però che tutte queste idee sperimentazioni messe in campo nel mondo scientifico oramai sono diventate politica comunitaria. E gli elementi di questo approccio interattivo sono la coesistenza positiva tra diciamo un'innovazione che viene dalla ricerca, ma da un'innovazione che viene anche dalla pratica, dal mondo operativo. L'importanza che le innovazioni e quindi tutto quello che si cerca di produrre per guidare verso una maggiore sostenibilità il sistema agroalimentare sia tailor-made, cioè sia costruito sulla base del contesto e dei problemi e delle opportunità che vivono le imprese e i territori rurali, e anche che ci sia una importante interazione tra tutti gli attori che devono in qualche maniera promuovere lo sviluppo e che ciascuno abbia un ruolo e la possibilità di incidere sul cambiamento. Questo ha voluto dire che nella politica agricola comunitaria 2014-2020, quella che è in fase conclusiva, benché sia stata prorogata, e nella
Even if it
politica
was
post-2020,
extended and in the
è stata
post-2020
ribadita
policy,
una nuova centralità
new centrality of knowledge was highlighted, as well as innovation and human capital growth. There's an initiative that was launched and it's quite important. Let me go back to this initiative. The efficiency of the transfer was demonstrated using this systemic and innovative approach. The linear approach that we're all aware with, someone produces and someone adopts, was not an effective one. Most of the European agricultural and non-agricultural entrepreneurs do not innovate, and those aiming at a sustainable transition have a problem with this. So an important initiative which is being undertaken is the European Innovation Partnership for Agricultural Productivity and Sustainability, the EIP Agri initiative. It is a document that was launched with the Strategic European Commission document Europe 2020 and is defined with the Communication Flagship Initiative Innovation Union. And we must say that at the center of all this, we have agricultural knowledge and innovation system. It's a complex field where research and innovation are directly connected. Just 1 minute. I'll rapidly reach the conclusion. So this initiative is highly successful. Let me show you some slides of the European Commission. 1,500 operating groups are already running. They are projects or partnerships which try and implement EPI Agri throughout Europe with a participative approach. 65% of these projects in Europe work on environmental sustainability and on climate change. This is very important because these are activities aiming at disseminating the transition. A potential risk of working in the AKIS, this is my last slide, is shown here. The risk is considering knowledge, innovation, digitization as a value, as if they were the center of the problem. In the perspective must be changed. Only they are knowledge, innovation, and digitization if they produce value, if they are instruments at the service of policies and growth. And therefore, the European Commission in the following program and programming period has made knowledge and innovation into a cross-sectional topic for all goals. And here we have the goals of reducing environmental impact and also working on climate change. it will be fundamental that many of the results of the project presented here are part of the system that will be implemented to have an effect on climate change, and the beneficiaries of these innovations must be part of all this.
I'm sorry for the very short time, but it's the general situation of this workshop. Thank you for the presentation, which was a broad overview of the situation and prospects, and I think very interesting for future discussion and sorry, for future discussion about these items. So I go to really the final speaker of this session, is Carla De Carolis of the Board of Directors, with a presentation that deals with biomass resources and their role in the development of the circular economy. And this presentation begins to enter into the contents of the enabling project. Please, Carla, go to your presentation. And we are a bit late, and therefore I ask you, to limit your speech to no more than 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Please,
okay.
Carla.
Thank you very much, Vito. And thank you very much. And hello, everybody. And my name is Carla De Carolis from Italia. And so I can try to share the my screen. Should be this one. Okay. Can you hear my presentation now? Yes. Yes. Can you see? Can you see the slide? The first.
Hey.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And so, as a I would like to introduce some concepts about the biomass resources on the circular bioeconomy. As I said in the previous introduction, I would like to start taking consideration the linear concept of the economy. The linear concept of the economy has proved to be incompatible with our climate change mitigation goals. And the global economy used so far must change from the linear concept that is based to the take, make, and dispose to the new concept of the circular economy that is based on the take, make, and recycle and the reuse, and especially where the waste are considered the key problem, while it can be considered as a new opportunities because if properly processed can be involved in the use of production processes. In order to do that, we necessarily plan the several steps by involving several key stakeholders, as I said before by Professor Fava, and including the farmers and the researcher, industrial stakeholders, and also the policymakers. This change is being boosted through the fourth industrial revolution technologies that is an ecosystem that holds a big amount of interconnected innovation with each other. And recently is also applied to the biomass conversion from bioenergy to the new sector that is represented by the bio-based products. And so this new approach of thinking the waste as an added value resource lets to drive the industrial community and focus to strategic investment, not only for the bioenergy industry, but towards a more complex model that we have defined as biorefinery. The biorefinery, that model should represent an example of a sustainable industrial implementation for coming years, and also should be therefore evaluated by process design and sustainable analysis. At the moment, not seems to be there are specific technologies able to constitute a strategic accelerator for addressing challenges of sustainable production, but the success key seems to be the connection of innovation in several sectors with aim to improve the efficiency of the process. And at the same time, also to valorize the biomass residues and waste along especially food, and especially with particular attention for the food chain. So new concept of okay, sorry. Okay, this one is the biorefinery. Relating to the sustainable biomass and is a key concept that we have to consider in the concept of the biorefineries. And I would like to, for example, if we take an example to the last production of the bio-based polymers, and at worldwide, they represented the 1% of the production at the international level and 5% at the European level. And considering the future steady increase of the bio-based polymers, the biomass feedstock is a requirement and is necessary years. And in acting, it's necessary to consider the conversion duration from biomass feedstock to bio-based product production. In this case, I would like to show an example concerning the bio-based polymers and respective to the biomass feedstock that is necessary to need for their production. And you can see in this slide that is necessary 5 million tons of biomass feedstock for worldwide production of 3.6 million tons of bio-based polymers. And more in depth, major biomass feedstock used for bio-based polymers production are biogenic byproducts, and especially the byproduct glycerol for the biodiesel production, with a mainly used for epoxy resin, followed by 37 of the required biomass are made up of the starch and sugar, 8% by cellulose, 9% of edible and not edible plant oil. And from the 3.6 million tons of produced bio-based polymers, just 1.6 million tons are actually bio-based part of the polymers. Consider this fact, it means that 3 times more feedstock as a biomass is needed to use for the product formation. This amount of over 3.4 million tons of feedstock that is not ending up in the bio-based product is due to the high number of the conversion steps and related feedstock and intermediate losses. Sorting resource is necessary to increase the efficiency of the biomass conversion into the bio-based product, and especially in the coming funding program, by exploitation of several connection of technologies and a different kind of biomass residues. As you can see in this scheme, such innovation framework, we have a lot of pathways that is possible to use for exploitation of different biomasses. And these are such innovation pathways helps to highlight innovative use of the biomass for sustainable growth and helps to quantify the potential of sustainable value creation. In this way, the government, the bio industry, and as well also the small and medium enterprises can redesign, rethinking their growth strategies. These technologies advancements, and especially applied to the green sector, are being considered as leverage point for achieve a sustainable production. But at the same time, the sustainable process are very complicated, are complex, and is necessary to coordinate all the steps of the chain, from biomass supply, including the research and development action, industrial scale-up and until to reach the commercialization and labeling of the bio. And so you can understand, therefore, the importance of monitoring the feedstock, the quantity of biomass, and especially the available biomass that is possible to use for new and innovative pathways for bio-based products. And you can see that in this slide that the different biomass is different from country to country, because but at the same time it's represented the starting point of the green growth for this kind of the sector. And just in this context, enabling partners work during these 3 years, work together with the aim to establish a first amount of suited and during the first year, in order to create a common methodologies and in order to analyze the different biomass, and especially the biomass residues came from rural sector, forestal sector, and agro-industrial sector. And also we have developed several innovation tools that will be better introduced in the forthcoming speeches. And for example, the biomass feedstock to industrial process tool, or best practice atlas, and the biomass trade platform, and so on. But the important that you can see by using the common methodologies, and we have reached, it is possible to have a minimum quantity of the total biomass residues, more or less 350 million tons every year. Of course, the quantity is different from country to country, but we have more or less the same trend. You can see
just
that
1 minute.
Okay.
Just 1 minute, Carla.
Just 1 minute, okay. And we can see that the part of these biomass residues comes from rural sector, followed by agro-industrial sector for the 20%. And as I would, okay, I want to go to do some to make some conclusions for this kind of results. And as you can at last, the key challenges have to represented by implementation and interconnection of the new pathways, and especially from the slide. From this slide, okay, taking consideration a huge amount of the biomass residues, it's very important to take in mind to make interconnection about the different technologies and different research and development action that for exploitation of the biomass. It's necessary that every opportunity presented in the fourth industrial revolution is a circular in a circular economy context must be used to realize a global biomass residues production system. And also it is very important to consider the holistic system approach, because it is required, because therefore will be essential to stimulate the better connection and to create a stable network between different stakeholders, and in order to develop integrated strategies to valorize the biomass residues. The first results reached by enabling project activity are actually demonstrating stronger contribution in this direction. The first impact demonstrated that to be able to create attractive conditions for a more dynamic and innovation farming, and also agri-food sector with aim to a better exploitation of the biomass residues in a competitive advantages. Thank you very much for your attention, and I finished my presentation as I hope I am in time. I don't know.
2 minutes more. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Carla. And thanks again to all the speakers. At this point, I give my place to Martin Collison, who is one of the partners of the Enabling Project, and will moderate the next session dedicated to the activities of the project and its main result. Please, Martin, please in your position.
Good morning and thank you. So yes, I'm Martin, I'm from the UK, and I've been working on this sector for about the last 25 or more years and seen lots and lots of change. I think what we're really focused on within the project is what works. It is a question not only of doing the research and the science, but taking it through and making it work within practice. That is the real focus. It's about benefit to farmers and benefit really to the whole of the business and supply chain, as well as climate change. And I think what you'll see today with some of the results from the project, it's lots of very, very good ideas that have come out of the project that can be shared and that other businesses can then use to help them to embrace really the potential within this sector. I'm not going to say any more because we are short of time. I'm going to move very, very fast into the speakers, and I would ask them all to try and keep to time, please. And the first of our speakers is going to be Georgia, who's led the project and who is going to give an overview of what the project has been about and the focus that it has adopted. Georgia.
Thank you very much, Martin. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Giorgia, and I've been managing the project on behalf of Federunacoma, which is the coordinator with the support of Italia for the scientific and technical part. We'll also be very brief because I want to give space to my project colleagues and to the invited speakers who will present the different case studies. Let me share the screen. So, okay, now I guess you can see the presentation. Just a very few words on the reason why we are here. Basically, you know, this is the final conference of Enabling, which is a thematic network which was funded by the European program Horizon 2020. The project is about to finish. It will formally end at the end of this month after 3 years duration. We are 16 different partners, different organizations from all over Europe and beyond. Why we are here? We basically all together, we came together to, these are some slides that you can see afterwards, to work on the bio-based industry sector. Which is considered as part of the bioeconomy, and it's a very promising and interesting market with a huge potential, but somehow this potential remains unexploited at this point. This is for a number of reasons. We need to consider that the bio-based industry is a very new market. It's a very young market with all the challenges that this implies. Research in this market is very lively, but there are some other barriers that somehow are slowing down the development of this sector. There is a kind of general fragmentation of the knowledge, of the initiatives, of the actors at European level. There is not enough visibility to the single initiatives that are that are developing all over Europe. And it's a sector that is still competing with bioenergy, so with a much more structured sector. Based on these observations, we decided to develop the project work plan. We have basically we have three main objectives in this project. Is enlarging the knowledge base on the bio-based product value chains. We want to favor the contact between the main actors of the bio-based products actors, value chains, the biomass producers, so basically the farmers, and the processors or the transformers. And we want to enhance, to favor the visibility and the replicability of the existing practices. Very briefly, based on these three objectives, the work plan was built on three main pillars. The first one is the study on available biomass in Europe, and the identification of existing processes to transform the biomass to the bio-based products. The second pillar, very important, is the collection of existing practices, what we call best practices based on criteria that we decided at the end, at the start of the project, and made them public through this tool, the Best Practice Atlas. And the third pillar is the business support. We are providing business support to businesses who want to start, who are interested or want to start a business in this field. All my project colleagues will go into details in these three different pillars. Of course, there are other transversal activities. The exploitation and valorization of results is very important because we don't want the result and the tools that we developed in our project to be lost after the end of the project. So in session 3, we will talk about what we are thinking for the exploitation of the project results. And of course, we have been disseminating our activities, our goals throughout the whole project. Please do visit our websites and our social media accounts. I think I've been enough brief, so I think we can go on with the other speakers. I thank you all for being here, and yeah.
Well, thank you, Georgia. It's a very good overview of the range of work the project has been doing. What we're going to do is we're going to pick up on those three strands of the project now within session 2. And the first part of that is to look at the biomass resource and the process flows. And Lalitha from the Salignus team is actually going to talk us through some of the work that has been done on that. Good morning, Lalitha.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Georgia, for such a nice overview on three pillars. And thanks to Carla as well for nicely explaining the difference between linear and circular economy. So I'll be presenting on enabling work which we did, residual biomass, and some interesting results there. So let me share my screen. Sorry, just.
We can see, we saw it briefly.
Now we see the right thing.
Okay, you see the slides? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, can you see the full screen now?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry for the inconvenience there. So as I said before, I'm going to talk on residual biomass for a sustainable industry. And I'm also going to talk about how feedstock should be rightly matched with technologies in order to create market and robust local economies. And I'm sorry, but I will jump to this slide, COVID impact. I know it's something what everyone speaks, but one of the main of all the news that's out there on COVID, one news that really caught our attention is workers at risk by sector. So the red shows the high risk sector, medium shows relatively low risk, and the blue shows the sector that is actually not affected at all. At that point, education was not so affected, so that's why it's in blue. But now I think it'll be in yellow or red. So, but however, if we say the sector that is actually least affected is agriculture sector, and so that is very closely related to bioeconomy. Okay, and this by agriculture sector is the major source of the feedstock for bioeconomy. So now if we go for biomass conversion from idea to reality, it is a long journey, because this sector, how much ever we talk, it is still new. There is a lot of research going on there. So most of these biomass conversion technology, if we look at the readiness level, most of it is still between 1 to 5, maximum 6. Very few went from 6 to 9. So all the stakeholders should come together, and what enabling is doing is bringing academia, small business, large business, government and private sector, everyone together, and showing what is the potential of biomass and how much residual biomass is available there. So in order to de-risk this bioeconomy, in order to avoid this valley of death, normally when it happens after research, the technology doesn't go directly into the market. There's a large valley of death. So for that, to avoid that, the most important thing is knowledge of feedstock. One should know. So this is also, we consider residual biomass. There are hundreds of it. But if we consider these as an example here, straw, seaweed, waste paper, manure, wood chips, so on, we should know what is there in order to make full use of it. So, we can produce several kinds of products. I've just listed 11, which are key products according to Wageningen University and research. So in the top it is adhesive. So these are all bio-based products. After this, there are fuels and things like that, right? So now how do we get? So we can make all of these products from all of this residual biomass, but where we get this biomass? That is a one good question that almost every technology developer would ask. And enabling is providing data for that residual biomass availability, and is also providing the process flows to know how much of these products can be produced from each type of biomass. So pardon me if you cannot see this, when I click the link, probably it'll go to the Seligness enabling page. If you cannot see that, please let me know. Do you see now?
Yes.
Oh, great, thank you. Sorry for this technical issues. Okay, so when you click on the link that I gave on the slide, you'll be taken to this page, and here you can say the feedstock availability, bio-based products, and product flows. And on the left side, if you click the country, you have a list of 12 countries. And I give an example. I'll quickly show an example here. You can select the country, followed by the region that you're interested in. And let's take Southeast Ireland. And you can select the type of feedstock you want to use. And if you want to go in detail, you can also select what type of feedstock that you're specifically focusing. But otherwise, you can stop at the type of feedstock there. And here it gives very nice representation of what is the most prevalent feedstock in that region, arising wet tons, and it also gives the composition, cellulose, semicellulose, lignin. Based on this composition, you can make choices what type of product you can make, right? So this can be done for around 12 different countries, and each country has at least 5 to 6 regions. So this is a very good information enabling gives out to people that wants to develop new technologies and matching residues availability with the technologies. And now, once that is established, we can look at what can be done with, suppose if we say high in cellulose, so what can we do with cellulose? So let's say cellulose rich feedstock, and you can say, okay, straw, because it's barley straw, and the sector want to produce biochemicals, not polymers, suppose. And you don't have to go into products detail, because if you say search here, it gives the theoretical and practical yields of each of this product for the type of feedstock you have selected. That considers the amount of cellulose that feedstock has, the process efficiencies, and a whole lot of factors. And there, here, if you click on, so there are, if you go here, there are the companies that are operating in this space. And you go to the process flows, you get a bit more information on, okay, what is lactic acid, very basic information, and how biochemically the process is happening. So there's a lot of information here. So please go access it. And I go back to my slides now. I leave that here. Let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I can see the slides, and we've got about 2 minutes left, please.
Okay,
Good.
yeah, I'll be. I think something is interfering with my screen. I'm even unable to move my mouse properly. Is it okay if I present it like this?
Indeed. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so in order to optimize the, so once we know the technology, in order to optimize the process, we have to do a whole lot of optimization where you see here, the yellow and green plots, understand what is the most optimum conditions, do the simulations, equipment sizing, process economics, and a whole lot of work. So finding the right feedstock, right technology, it doesn't stop there. There is still a lot of work that has to be done. And enabling has group of people that have experience in from the biomass to the technology development, which you can access through coaching services. And if that's not available within enabling, you will be referred to the right people outside enabling consortium. So for process design rules for small scale, I'll just quickly go through. So it's very important to limit equipment investment costs. It is very important to select the right combination of pre-processing and centralized processing systems, and also on-site residues for heat and electricity, and understand the difference between selling and purchase values and minimal man hours and so on. So these all should be part of the simulation, and that's why it's mentioned here, especially for small scale rural biorefineries where the local feedstock is being used. Seasonal availability of the feedstock is another key important factor that has to be considered, the fully availability. So according to Jean Combes, when it was the peak of COVID, this was the news. So they say investing in these 8, I did not give the list here. So the 8 are agriculture related, most of this. So that will create 1.6 million jobs that are lost due to COVID. What is more sustainable than bioeconomy if we take this, right? So Selignes, we are involved in several projects. We are involved mostly in technology developments ranging till TRL6 to TRL9. Enabling is one project where we provide our technology expertise at several stages of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I think what that shows very well is the depth of the resource that's there about the available biomass sources and the wide range of products that can be produced from it. So one of the really good outcomes from this project is to actually map much of that work. The second piece that we're going to move on to that is going to be introduced by Peter from ZLTO is the best practices that we've been working on. These are all about what works within practice and within business. Peter.
Martin, thank you for giving us the possibility. And I say us because we did it really in a combined effort. I hope you can see my screen. Check.
Yes, I can.
Oh, fine. We were really working together. Giuseppe from ANO, who was taking all the best practices on board, but all the partners, which is really a joint effort, got it in their own countries. Peter Horak made the up, and I'm only the one who is presenting it. The collection of best practices, we identified more than 100 best practices over the whole project. We took them from agriculture, marine, and bioforestry, biomass, and it would be non-profit use of it. Most of the business are located in Europe. Some are identified abroad from Europe. Where to find those practices, those more than 100? In fact, every project should bring its practices to EIP service point, which you see the site. And if you look deeper into it, then you should know, for example, abstract 76 is a practice about a cow toilet. If you want to look for a cow toilet on Google, you are sent to the EIP service point, and then you cannot find it. So we did something better. The Atlas showed it on many different ways. We showed it on location, and we showed it really on the image and on the short description and then a longer description of the best practice. If you look at the background of the map, it's OpenStreetMap. So it's a really open source where we published it. And we are looking deeper. If you want to look deeper, you click on one of those cards that are combined, like when you do booking.com, then you see also the map in combination with the card. And you click it, and you click the card deeper into it, and then you see the cow toilet, which is here installed in the back of a feed unit for cows. That's I won't go into this example. There are so many, and let me tell you, the example was not chosen by myself, but by Peter. So we have so many more examples that are really nice. What is the functionality? You can access in two ways. You can get into the Atlas via the website, and each practice has its own URL, and that's really important. If you want to show someone else your best practice, or the best practice that you found, you can simply copy the URL of this best practice and you send it to this page, what you see below. You send it to someone that you want to show, hey, that's mine. The functionality has filters, of course. You can filter the cars by country, more countries, one country. You can just choose. You can filter by partner. You can filter in the future, because wireless info will not get this from the web. It will stay on the web and it's developing in combination with other projects, even new technology into it. You can filter by biomass source and by product, which very much related to the previous introduction. The ordering, and that's also the next nice feature. You can order by name, and the default is an internal attribute, but that is put there to make it interesting to see the complete set. You can the new is an ID for the best practice, so a real short thing, and you can also get on the name on the alphabet. And so the ordering is also what you can organize. In any presentation about bio-based products, I would really say, please use this best practice atlas. It's really useful and easy to use, and it's going to expand further in the next period. And I'm already gone through it in 5 minutes, so that we catch up a little bit in time.
Thank you, Peter. What we now have within Peter's session is 3 quick case study examples. The first on green building from the second Peter de Bruin.
Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Salvatore Pepe from Mosaico Digitale. We produce new building material, sustainable material, for 2 things. For the first thing is the lightness of the material. We produce the tile that have only 2 millimeter thickness, 1.2 kilo for square meter, and you can design anything on that. And you can put this tile on the wall, outdoor, indoor, everywhere. And you can cut the tile in any shape you want. And you can design any design you want. It's sustainable material for the raw material that where we start, and is a sustainable material for the lightness, because if we don't cut the mountain for produce tile, we reduce the consume of the territory. And another thing, we reduce the transport, the logistic, because if we reduce the weight of the building material, we reduce the logistic problem. Another thing, we start from the raw material from agriculture, because the resin of our tile is bioresin from soya oil. For these 2 reasons, we are sustainable building material. And what we do, but with this tile, we do wall, nice wall around the world. We produce wall for different company around the world. Also for the Chicago Metro Station, we do the lighting of the product is possible put this tile on the ceiling, because the lightness is possible put on the ceiling also. It's possible put in outdoor. We produce for many hotels the facade, and we can put the facade on the polystyrene. We can do the decoration, and also it's possible put on the insulation. We work also with Italy, the famous restaurant around the world, Italian restaurant, big restaurant around the world. Any counter is, the decoration is from Mosaico Digitale. I won't show some, we win around the world different awards. We win the Red Dot Design Award in Essen in Germany. We win also in New York the Best of the Year design from the magazine, interior magazine, very famous. And we win also in Dubai 1 prize for architecture design product. The lightness for us is very important for the building material, because it's not important only for the tile, because what is tile? Tile is decoration on the weight. We remove from the back of the tile, we remove something. This is not, is stupid. And also we can put this tile on the new shape of the architecture, because the beam, if we think about Tadao Ando, we think Calatrava, we think the architecture of Zadid, the architecture have a big space with no pillar. The lightness is very important. This product is a new skin for the new shape of the architecture. And the first thing is the lightness and the raw material for start. Thank you. Sorry for the screen, but because I can show you some project that we have in the book.
Well, thank you very much. I think one of the things that shows is that it is important to embrace some of the largest markets that we have. And of course, the building materials market is very, very large. We'll now move to another very, very large market, which is the packaging market. And so I will now welcome Peter.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning.
Floor is yours.
Good morning. You can hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Peter de Bruin from the Netherlands, and I want to talk to you about the subject biofoam. And for that, I have a presentation that I want to share. Let me see. I saw some difficulties at others. I hope that this is. Can you tell me what you're seeing right now on the screen?
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. It's gone now, but it was there a minute ago. It's there now.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay. I will try to keep it within the time limits. Like I said, the company Semprodo I'm working for, part of the Baby Simba group. I'll come back later to that. And we are active in the EPS industry mainly. Several business areas, the raw material production we have in own locations, insulation, packaging, and the recycling. This is something that's, of course, becoming more and more important in our industry, because next to the biomaterial that we are, of course, also busy with the recycling of the existing polystyrene material. And we want to close the loop. And before that, we want to take back from the market all the polystyrene that we're also bringing on the market. And that's a total of 60,000 tons per year. But like I said, that's about the EPS. I want to tell you more about the biofoam material. This is the group, the current group. We are active, as you can see, in the northern, the western, and a part of the southern part of Europe. We are based in Holland, but we have activities, factories all around Europe. Not at the moment in Italy, but we're working closely with two companies there that are also using our material biofoam on the market. And I will have an example of that later in the presentation. This is it. This is the product, biofoam. It's 100% bio-based, and we are the only material in the world that is 100% bio-based, only foamed material. And it's also 100% compostable. The first application that came into the market and still is a product for AkzoNobel that you can see at the left side, left above. Of course, we have an icebox in this material that's for the Italian market. It's called the Greenie. And we have also other ice boxes. The other one, Sunros Bio, is going to the German market. But we also make fish boxes from it, vegetable boxes. We can even put prints on it, as you can see. These are some other applications that we have. Helmets, we use it for the horticulture industry, electrical packaging, and also for the pharmaceutical industry, we make boxes. And even it's used in the construction. In Holland, we have some applications for roof insulation, and we also do some cavity wall insulation with these beads. This is one of our latest developments. It's an infill material for artificial grass. There is a lot of resistance for the current rubber material that's been put all over these fields. And we have developed together with our customer a bio-based and compostable version of the infill material that's been spread all over the artificial grass and stays there. This is the cycle where we are using feedstock material from sugar plants. It's waste from sugar plants that we are suppliers making lactic acid out of that. From that we make the PLA, and that has been foamed towards the biofoam material. And of course, as I said earlier, there are certain end-of-life options. Of course, it can be composted. I'll come back on that. It can be reused. We can recycle it for new materials, and we can even do the chemical recycling to get it back to the lactic acid material. Properties are the same as EPS. We have a one-to-one replacement for that. So the bending strengths are the same. Also, the insulation values are the same. So with the same tool that you can produce the EPS product with, we can also produce the biofoam product with, and it has absolutely the same properties. This is something about the compostability of the material. It's important to say that it's not home composting, but it's industrial composting. So at 70 degrees, with a certain humidity and also with microorganisms, the material compost. And you can see here after 4 weeks what will happen to the parts. And of course, we do a lot of investigation towards the CO2 reduction and also the life cycle analysis. And the molded parts of biofoam has the best properties compared to the EPS and other types of fabrics. Yeah, some takeaways from this material. Like I said, it's made from renewable feedstock. We are 100% bio-based. And we are in a process carbon neutral. It's food approved, of course. And it's compostable, providing additional and sustainable end-of-life option. We are cradle-to-cradle certified and also free from all kind of stuff as mentioned there. So, so far this presentation, and I have to see how I can go back and stop it.
Thank you, Peter. Again, I think really fascinating. We do lots of work with the food chain within the UK, and I know they are pushing very, very hard for that type of packaging because of consumer pressure. So I think the market has changed, and we're moving forward very, very quickly at the moment. It'd be very useful to pick up with you to explore some of that a little bit further.
Okay,
thank you. And the third of our case studies around the best practices is Sylvia, who's going to be talking about sustainable cleaners. Sylvia.
Hello, good morning. Thanks to invite me to speak today. I'm Silvia Carlini. I'm one of the two owners of Officina Nature. I speak about my company and my projects. Yes, okay. As I already said, I'm one of the two owners of Officina Nature. Officina Nature is a company born in Rimini in 2004 from an idea from me and my friends Piero Corbinati to create a company that produce organic and eco-friendly cosmetic and detergents with an ethical and low impact production cycle. This is for us very, very important. Officina Nature invests in research and innovation to ensure for all products placed on the market the maximum efficiency, but also safety for all. To obtain this goal, for us is very, very important and entire life cycle of products in all the details, from raw material to the packaging. For us, it's very important that the product should be eco-friendly and effective formulas. What does it mean? That means we produce only products designed and tested to be effective, but also safe for human and the environment. This is the first point. The second point are the raw materials. We try to use raw material derived from plants, and when it is possible, from organic plants. We try to support the local organic farms to create a partnership and to have a short supply chain. Sometimes we buy directly the fresh fruits as organic queens. This is one of our example of trials and of projects. And then after buy it, we give the fruits we send the fruit to the research center to get its functional extract, and then we use these extracts in a lot of our products. For example, in our baby cosmetic products. Another example is the use of the Italian brassica oil. We use to produce detergents surfactants, and we use these surfactants in our Solara detergents line. Another important point for us is the efficiency in energy. We use, we make isolation of our building from recycled PET from plastic bottles. We use photovoltaic energy. We use only natural painting and other liquor choices to increase the energy efficiency of our side. Then a very important point is the sustainable packaging. Officina Nature is currently the only company in Italy to use bio-PET to make 100% all our detergents, bottle and canister. The bio-based is obtained from sugar cane, purchased from Brazil company that responsibly cultivate the fields. Then another point is the eco-design. Our bottle is projected to reduce the volume to be transported, then we can produce less CO2 and then less space occupied in home and in retail outlets. Last years, we start a new line completely and totally plastic free. We produce cosmetics like shampoo, body wash, deodorant, and this year also this solid dishwashing, completely plastic free. All this part of the production is made in Italy, another important thing for us. I think that all of us can reduce our impact on the environment through our daily action, as washing hands, as wash dishes in a natural way. So the brand Bio-Sustainable is inside our label, our products, because we want to say that the Bio-Sustainable concept is an ethical value, but also a relationship between people, put attention to dignity of individuals, the virtuous management of money, the commitment not to compromise the future of the next generation. Thank you very much.
And thank you. And I think again, what you've referred to is plastics. You referred to climate change, and you referred to really to the energy debate. All three of those are right at the heart of all of the work that we need to be doing. So thank you very much to those three case studies.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the support that we've been providing to business, and we've got Jana and Claudia to explain the work that we've been doing to support businesses. Jana.
Thank you, Martin. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jana. I'm from the Innovation Support Center for Rural and Agricultural Development in Belgium. And such as Peter Paris already explained, also this part is a joint effort from different partners within the project. So together with INADA and EPC and of course the other parts, we have been working on the support to business, more specifically through coaching and brokerage. So I will try to go to the next slide. Yes. So within the enabling project, we wanted to develop a permanent support framework to stakeholders, both farmers and the bio-based economy, to make sure that the momentum generated by the identification of best practices or by the events organized in the project is not lost and can actually be built upon in terms of effective processes of technology transfer and innovation uptake. We've been working on 3 products for that. It's the Innovation Watch, the coaching platform, and the brokerage platform. The brokerage platform was eventually developed as the biomass trade platform by EPC, which we will discuss later on. So the Innovation Watch, I suggest you have a look at the website because we've been collecting a lot of information regarding the bio-based economy. And this was continuously updated with emerging innovation or patents from different regions worldwide. So as a beginner, we can have a look at the articles. We have been collecting more than 150 articles and scientific papers related to the topic. And you can also filter results in your area of interest, of course. Also, more than 100 related projects were collected, and a lot of inspiring videos can be watched, and also products and applications. And next, we've been building a coaching and brokerage platform. It's 2 types of customized advice. Coaching was rather developed on knowledge level. So the goal of this type of support was to provide assistance to local businesses that are willing to adopt a given best practice or had questions in regard to a best practice. And the innovation brokerage was to take it a step further to capture demand from either the biomass residues providers or the bio-based product industry for the uptake of solutions that have been identified as best practices. So the brokerage was rather more intense advice on technology transfer level on the one hand, but also on business level. So we also provided support on new business partners, but also on business plan development was part of this. In order to receive all requests in a centralized way, we developed together with INADA the questionnaire. So it's available in all different partners' languages. And there, a stakeholder with a request could leave his or her request. And this was received by INADA, and based on a skill matrix from all our partners, we could easily send through the specific request to the right partner with the right knowledge. And then because of this support platform, we were able to provide support to in regard to a lot of different types of biomass and waste streams. Just to give you an idea on how diverse the types of requests were. So we've been working on algae, on scanthus, on seashells, thistle, prickly pear, milkweed, pig fat, manure, corn stoves, and so on. So it's just a few of the biomass we've been working on. And the types of potential end products were also diverse, of course. So we've been working on biorubber, on bio-based trays to transport fertilized eggs, organic hides, biochar, cosmetics, eatable cups, soap, and so on. So it's just a few of the examples that we've been guiding through the brokerage work. And we have also reached a high diversity in types of requests. So we received requests just on information on best practices, but also stakeholders that were searching for suppliers of specific biomass, but we're also in search of very technical support sometimes, in search of inspiration for valorization of their residues and waste streams, investment support, also some requests in regard to legislation on and restrictions on use of waste. Of course, also market advice and a search of new, sometimes international partners to further work on. And this, of course, suggests diverse types of requesters. So we've been helping SMEs, but also large companies situated in the bio-based industry, but also fossil-based companies looking for new bio-based solutions, startups send in some requests, farmers and universities, and perhaps I'm missing a few others, of course. And one unexpected result was the case of Biorefinery. Biorefinery has been developing a new startup a bit because of enabling. So this new startup is based on the chitosan extraction. So during 2019, Biorefinery asked for support from our Norwegian partner Vestlandsforsking, because they had read their best practice about chitosan, and together they obtained useful information from the company Chitinor in Norway. And the following year, Biorefinery carried out the first extraction of chitosan by using local residues, and at the end of July, end of July, 2020, Biorefinery startup has been fully created. I wanted to show a movie, but I think I forgot to share with sound. So I will share my screen again with sound. Just a second. With sound, I hope. So I also have a movie about the biomass trade platform. I will maybe show just a part. You can have a look on the website, of course.
The Horizon 2020 project Enabling supports the development of efficient value chains from biomass to bio-based products. Enabling focuses on the assurance of market growth for biomass as a raw material, the support for the transition to a circular economy, and the creation of new jobs alongside the entire biomass value chain. Biomass trade in EU. Enabling has created a variety of tools for networking different stakeholders in the bio-based sector. A central element is the biomass trade brokerage platform, where producers and processing industries can meet. Biomass trade creates new opportunities for producers and buyers of biomass and biomass residues. The platform is a new trading place for producers from agriculture and forestry, but also from fishing.
Okay, I'm receiving some messages that some people can't see the movie. So that's a pity, but maybe we can send it afterwards, and then you can have a closer look when the webinar is over. And the biomass trade platform can be found online on the enabling website. So I would like to go over to the three case studies. So some results of the advice and support that we've been providing. The first case is one of the best practices from Argentina, the prickly pear supply chain. This is a model example of how communication and dissemination can lead to the transnational collaboration and new startups. This case was a result of actively sharing the best practices of a Sicilian farmer by our consortium. And this farmer has been selling for several years large quantities of plant pruning to pharmaceutical companies in Germany and Austria. And today he also supplies these biomasses to recently activated biorefinery in Sicily. This was one of the best practices that the Enabling Project presented. And we also made a video and shared it on YouTube. And therefore, I would like to give the word to Mr. Czerniak, the ambassador of Argentina from FAO, because he was inspired and decided to support this replication in Argentina. So Mr. Czerniak.
Sorry, just a small change. Mr. Czerniak is unable to participate, and he will be substituted by Mr. Antonello Liberato.
Okay, thank you. Then Mr. Antonello can take the floor.
E con il mio intervento, diciamo, sostituisco la presenza del...
Mr. Czerniak, the ambassador of Argentina at FAO in Rome, who unfortunately had a previous engagement and has not been able to attend. We discussed the enabling project and focused on the prickly pear. I am here to make a short presentation about the project with Argentina. I've been in charge of an association established by myself with other colleagues. So we've been encouraging cooperation between Argentina and Italy on a number of issues related to forestry, energy, and agriculture, and also animal husbandry. The association is called ISIM, Argentina and Italy for an Integrated System. We've always been very interested in the prickly pear production as a production for the future. The enabling project that we discovered over the last few months in the framework of a number of European initiatives has played a very important role in providing additional information to myself. I received videos and documents. I've been in contact with the Republic of Argentina for many years, and so I've been in contact with people from northwest Argentina, where the prickly pear production is concentrated. I've also been in touch with the ministry and the authorities that have shown interest in the project. Thanks to this initiative on a very important issue, we've seen a lot of interest and involvement. Of course, this is the beginning of the project. So we've been cooperating with the Argentinian ambassador at FAO. We've been in contact with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Argentina. Of course, we've been in touch with regional and local authorities and some farmers producing prickly pears. They've all been very interested in and impressed by the material I supplied to them. So we've been in contact to consider a cooperation and partnership involving the enabling partners and their counterparts in Argentina. This is very interesting potential partnership encouraging bioeconomy and circular economy. Argentina is a very large country and is very suitable for this crop on large areas where prickly pear has been grown for centuries, but never in an organized way. So there's a lot of interest in innovating this sector with a sociological and social impact on some rural areas in northwest Argentina. We've laid the foundations for future developments. We, as professionals, have always adopted a across-the-board approach. The institutional contexts are very important because, of course, we need policymakers to be on board and motivated on the project, and then the technical and scientific partnership and the support, as I could see from the material about prickly pear. We have important research bodies, ENEA and others, just to mention one. And the third level concerns the farmers and the entrepreneurs. We'd like to encourage new entrepreneurial activities. As shown by the material provided by the enabling project, we've been able to create a network of partners in Argentina that in order to improve product quality, encouraging research, and have a positive impact for any potential European partners in this venture. Prickly pear is quite well known in Argentina. Of course, it's very well known in Italy. Of course, not all applications and components of the plant are well known to everyone. We used in cosmetics, nutraceuticals, and can be a potential feedstock for biomass production. We've been working in forestry, and of course the biomass is particularly dear to my heart. Therefore, I think that the communication potential of the enabling project has been amazing. And interest has been quite considerable. I mean, we should have had the ambassador of Argentina at FAO joining us today. He will certainly be very actively involved in the future steps of the projects. Unfortunately, I'm not being able to share my presentation. I tested it, but unfortunately, it doesn't really come up on the screen right now. I'm sorry about that. But of course, we're very interested in this project, and I'm here to represent Itabia. And of course, we have many contacts with the research and development institutes. So we're very willing to cooperate to set up an effective network in this area. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to be actively involved in this important final conference. And thanks to all of you for the enabling project. It's been excellent work and very impactful in terms of communication. Thank you very much and goodbye.
We now have two other case studies. Very quickly, Jana, if we can, please.
Is that visible?
Yes,
Moses, it is.
It's clear, yeah? Yeah?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then. I'll just start very briefly by introducing myself, and then I'll speak briefly just about what research I'm doing and how I got to get linked with the enabling project. As you can see on the screen, I'm doing a research at the University of Nairobi. Sorry, at the University of East Anglia. Hello?
Yeah,
can you hear
Moses,
me?
yes, we can hear you. Continue, please.
All right. Yeah, just to introduce myself, I'm an industrial chemist by profession and currently engaged as a researcher at the University of East Anglia. I've studied chemistry as a background, and I'm doing a PhD in engineering. In terms of my research area, that's to do with how to try and source carbon materials for electrochemical energy storage. And in talking about this, I'll be going over just a brief outline. I'll be talking about the introduction or the motivation to the research, the aim of the research, and the work that I've done to date. The main motivator of this research is the idea of global warming and the fact that for us, if we continue burning fossil fuels, we are generating a lot of greenhouse gases, which are then causing global warming. The other issue is that the fossil fuels are not necessarily renewable. I mean, over a long time, they could be renewable, like if you wait for a million years, but in essence, they're not renewable. So that's another downside for the fossil fuels. There's also the unbalanced distribution across the world. For example, there are the countries that are known to be oil rich and countries that are not oil rich. And the ones that tend to be resource rich tend to have conflicts as well. So as we face these challenges, what option do we have, or what option is coming up? There's the idea of trying to look at the renewable energy sources. We have things like wind, solar, and tidal energy. But then these come with their own challenges as well. They are a bit seasonal in nature and intermittent. So for us to be able to utilize them, we actually need to get a way of storing the energy. So that takes us to what energy storage technologies are there that can help us tap into these renewable energy sources. I mean, if you look at the slide that I'm sharing, you can see there's a lot of different energy storage mechanisms, but my research is interested in the electrochemical energy storage, and in particular, batteries and supercapacitors. So why the focus on battery and supercapacitors? or rather why the focus on electrochemical energy storage. This tends to be relatively efficient in the way it transmits energy from chemical energy to electrical energy, because of course there's no things like moving parts, so there's no heat or generated. So having seen the general background, so what are we trying to actually, or rather what am I trying to achieve? These devices, the battery and the capacitors, are made up of three main components: electrodes, the electrolyte, and the separator. My particular research is looking at the electrode part of it. To make the electrode, we need materials, and one of the materials that's coming up as one of the best is carbon. Why is carbon one of the best materials? It's available in several forms. It's high electrical conductivity, low cost, and chemically stable. So there are conventional ways of getting the carbon, which was through fossil fuel or from coal or petrochemicals. Again, this involved a lot of high temperature and a bit of harsh conditions. So that's why there's a drive to move to biomass. So what does biomass carbon sources have as an advantage? So they are versatile in their nature, they're easily tunable, the surface chemistry, and they're naturally abundant. And unlike the fossil sources, they're actually localized in different areas. So you could have regional sources of biomass. So, and that's why the focus on my sources are biomass. This is just an example of a capacitor, and this is a battery set up in the north of the UK to support the grid. So in looking at the electrochemical or the energy storage devices, there's two elements that are quite critical: the amount of energy that they can store and how quickly they can deliver that energy. So how quickly is the power density, and how much of it they can store is the energy density. So if you look at our key interest is electrochemical capacitors and batteries. They have their different strength. One has power density, which is the capacitors, and this has energy density. So we are trying to combine these two mechanisms and push this value upwards. If we can get it to where the combustion engine is, then it means we will be ready to use this technology to substitute the combustion engine. At the moment, we are pushing towards that side. So in a nutshell, that's the aim of this. That's what we are trying to achieve. So what have we done to date? I mean, to date, I have selected the different kind of precursors to use. And again, here, this is where the enabling project was really helpful, because unlike your conventional chemicals, you'd go to the website and order the chemical in. I was really struggling where to order the biomass from. And luckily, through a seminar I attended, courtesy of the environmental school, I attended a seminar at Norwich, which was organized by the Enabling Project. I think it was called BioLadies then. And that's where I met, obviously, Collison's and Associates and the project itself, and got some support. And 5 of these were actually sourced courtesy of the Enabling Project. This one here is the waste tire sample, which I'm quite happy one of the presenters actually talked of the infill in the grass or in the pitches. So it's good to get rid of that. We need it here on this research to actually convert it to activated carbon. So we've selected our biomasses there. We've characterized them. to see which ones are suitable for the process. So the next stage we've done is carbonized. Here, it's just simply heating to temperatures around between 400 and 800. The idea is to try and increase the porosity of the carbon. And then a further step that enhances the surface area is called activation, which again, here we were using potassium hydroxide, but there is a lot more chemicals that I'll be trying out in the course of the research. Having done that, we've now characterized. Having done that, this is what we end up with. This here, our activated carbons. And at this stage, what we are looking at, we'll be studying their surface area to see which one is actually giving us a better surface area and a better porosity. And from that, we'll narrow down to them and then go further to test them in the actual electrodes. I mean, this, in summary, is the presentation that I've got today. And thank you for your time.
And thank you, Moses. I think what session 2 has shown is the very wide range of work that the team has been doing and that the project has achieved, and how large and how diverse the range of markets are for the bioeconomy. What I'm now going to do is just thank all of the speakers that we've had and pass across to George, who is going to facilitate the third session, which is going to look at the longer term and the way that we link with a range of other projects. George.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Martin. So firstly, yes, I'm George Collison, also of Collison Associates Limited. As well as working with Collison Associates Limited, I'm also a master's student in sustainable finance at Maastricht University in the Netherlands. 3 points of note. Firstly, we will share all presentations and videos after the conference is completed. We recognise there have been several technical issues. Owing to these technical issues, time is short. Thus, I will not be sharing my PowerPoint at this time, and instead we will have it as part of the ones that are mailed out to all participants. Thirdly, if I could ask all of the speakers who are going after me, if they could, when they're screen sharing, there are 3 options. Please choose the second option, which is application window, and go into your PowerPoint via that route. So yes, as Martin has said, I'll talk briefly about how we will have legacy from enabling. So enabling's key issue is it would cost about €500,000 a year to sustain the current independent body. However, given current circumstances surrounding COVID, funding, etc., this is not particularly likely. Also, an issue is a large part of what enabling currently does is, in essence, public goods. These are goods that are excellent to have, but they're not really fundable by the market. Much of this is because the circularity of, well, the circular economy and the bioeconomy is such that we have a lot of small players, all of whom are seeking to innovate and to get to the market, or we have researchers such as Moses. Many of these individuals cannot easily pay for consultancy or for advisory and for help, and so they require free services. And indeed, to get a circular approach going requires what in economics we term an O-ring approach, that all parts of the circular economy need support at once to lift it from the ground upwards. And so this is something that is difficult to achieve. Therefore, the main point of the legacy of enabling will be collaboration and partnership. So we discovered that we had over 160 other projects and networks at European and multi-state level, many more at national level, and that included 17 EU-wide bioeconomy networks. As a result of this, we will seek to integrate all of our results, all of our excellent outcomes into other projects and initiatives which will be going forward. Therefore, I would like to introduce the first speaker, if she is here, which is Iris Anderson of the BioLadies Network. Iris has over 35 years of policy experience and business and research experience in the bioeconomy, agriculture and related fields. She is an ambassador for the Bio-Based and Biodegradable Industries Association since 2015, and her background is in the UK's Department of Energy and of Climate Change, and also the Department of the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and its antecedent. So I'd like to welcome Iris to share her screen and start her presentation quickly, please, if she's there. Is Iris with us? No. So if Iris isn't available, then I would call for Grazia Barberio, who is of the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform. They are a researcher with ENEA, which is the Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. So if you could share your screen, that would be much appreciated, please.
Thank you. I'll try. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for this kind invitation. Actually, I'm not Grazia Barberio. That is, she's my head. I'm Roberta De Carolis, because Grazia cannot join for a previous business. But anyway, I'm working with her with the same topic. So I think that would be the same. First of all, a very short introduction of Italian Circular Economy Platform and maybe the reason why we are here. This platform was born in 2018 because ENEA was selected as one Italian member of a coordination group of European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform. So this platform was born as mirror platform for the years where ENEA was in the coordination group. But anyway, this platform it's intended to be an existing and permanent instrument. The main ESESP objective is reinforce the role of Italy in promotion, implementation, and dissemination of circular strategy, enhancing the Italian way the international community. But why we are here, I guess, because this main objective is we are trying to reach this objective. First of all, collecting good practice in Italy for a circular economy, promoting the dialogue and sharing the experience in order to enabling the interconnection and the general impact of the initiatives. More in details, the objective and instruments that this platform has been implementing. Promote the knowledge diffusion, mapping the Italian best practice, as mentioned before, and Dr. Mannelli is part of this process. Create an operational tool for intersectoral dialogue, as anticipated before, for the ambitious, but we hope that could be real, hoping to bring in Europe the Italian way for circular economy. The platform explores different aspects of circular economy, because circular economy is a global challenge, as you know, and many aspects should collaborate in coherent way. So eco-innovation, research, development, and technology transfer, but also regulatory aspect, models of the organization, measurement tool, and something like that. So in a practical way, we have a web platform to facilitate the exchange of information in this period where the remote is mandatory. I think that it's particularly useful. Support the participation of ESESP activities and organize events in this period by remote, but in the past, and we hope hopefully in the future also in present, event dedicated to communication and dissemination. This platform has a structure, even if this is not a legal entity for now. Our chair is the president of the platform is our director, the department director, that is the Department for Sustainability, and the technical coordinator is Grazia Barberio. We have a committee of coordinators of working group, and later I will give some input of this working group as well. We have the possibility, there is the possibility to join the platform as signed members, but also just, in quotation, these words, because it's important rule as well, as experts, so not signing, but working again as well. And we have recently, we have implemented recently a good practice revision committee where Dr. Mannelli is member. It's the specific task to review the best practice that we receive for publication in our platform, but also in an English version to be promoted for publication also in HS platform, the European one. For being member ex-expert, the process is continuous, so just send an email to info to ICESP. For being membership as a signature member, the Italian organization should send the email, but an email with a module that we can download it from website within November 20. However, this in the few slides, this one and the second one, I would like to summarize the topic and the products foreseen, but in some cases, most of the cases, a lot just obtained, the products of working group. The first one is dedicated to research and innovation, as well as training. Policy and governance instruments for working group 2. The third one to monitoring tools. The fourth that I'm coordinating by person, so it's the working that I know much a bit more better than other, and it's dedicated to sustainable and circular value chain. So the circular economy from industry point of view. Circular cities and territories, it's working group 5. The sixth is the working group specific dedicated to collecting and analyze good practice. And in this working group, I will dedicate some tips better later. And the last one for communication and promotion of circular economy activity. At the moment, we have a quite well distribution, but for typology as participants in the platform, but with the stronger participation from industries. This is the signing member till now, but we will have the other one in for next year, because we are been receiving different other requests. As practical instruments, as mentioned before, we have the website, and we have the possibility to interact in different way through website too, where you can find our searchable database of Italian best practice. Of course, the language is Italian, but anyway, part of them are translated and published on a European platform as well. Okay, as mentioned, I would like to go more deeply in the working of working group 6, because we think that this is the link, the better link with the enabling project work. The aim of this working group is consolidate also at the European level, because the working group is in strict connection with the European platform. the role of Italy as a key country for promotion, implementation, dissemination of the high added value circular strategy. So the working group has not the rule just to collect best practices and possibly translate and send to, but also analyze per typology. For typology, the best practice in terms, for example, of sector where the good practice is intended to applied, the sector, but also the circular economy phase. So, for example, it's a eco-design good practice, or it's an innovative way to recycle waste. So the working group has the important rule of classify the best practice in order to...
Sorry, no, please, we are quite late. If it's
yes, but it's
good,
very 5 minutes.
Sorry
yes.
for...
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right. So you can find in the website the web best practice just approved, that it's follow SSP guidelines, of course. As mentioned before, we have also a good practice revision committee that Enea is part of this, but we are not alone, of course. And the goal is strengthen the current database in terms of different evaluation topic and criteria. This is the requirements as a basic principle, that it's similar. Some of them it's the same of HSP, but not only. 2 slides for the work just done on this. So the approved, not approved, just published and ongoing. And very few words of the work that we done also as HSP for the definition of European Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, that it's the new agenda for circular economy delivered in the framework on Cicerone project. This is based on 4 areas. You can find the agenda on the website of Cicerone project. And in these slides, that of course could be available from my side, so you can have the objective that we selected after a lot of international and national consultation in the 4 contexts that we mentioned before. Next, this is, I think that it's the last slides. These activities and appointments for the ISES platform, the most important, I think it's the annual conference that we will present our results in this year, that it's foreseen December 11. Save the date, of course, so everyone can join, and you are very welcome. And I thank you, of course, for your attention and this kind invitation, and I'm available, and this is my contact for any kind of questions. Thank you.
Right, many thanks, Roberta, for that excellent talk. Next speaker will be Iris Anderson. She has had a couple of connection issues, but she's now with us. So I'll hand over to Iris, please, to explain the BioLays network.
Hey, George. Hello, everyone. I was watching, I just couldn't. I'm going to share my screen. George, let me know. Right. While I'm trying to share, I'll start speaking. So, hello, everyone. My name is Iris Aquilina Anderson. I'm Maltese, but I live in the UK. Been living in the UK for a long time. So I am still going to be part of the European Union after Brexit. That's the first very important thing to say. I've been a civil servant for the last 38 years, but recently I've left, and I've been working on the bioeconomy for many years. I wanted to make sure that all the years of experience in the bioeconomy actually don't go to waste. So I started a network. I used to run networks in the civil service, more for professional progress. But when I left, I thought, besides professional progress for women, we also need to have professional progress in the bioeconomy. We started as a few ladies, but now we've got more than 300 members. We decided last year that biolads, gents, needed some networking experience too. So we allowed men in, but it's mainly women, because I don't know whether you all know the Sustainable Development Goals. The 7th one is gender, and we still need more women to be recognized for their science and their contribution, and like more than 50% of the world is women. So what was I saying? Yes, the BioLadies Network, the members basically all share the belief that we are going to make progress by using bio-based processes and products. It doesn't matter what part of the bioeconomy they work in. And maybe I should really talk about what are the benefits of networking. Networking has so many benefits. And like in a professional work context, people understand it. But from the point of view of promoting the bioeconomy, which I have been doing for many years, it's invaluable. The linkages that you can make by networking, just by having a chat, is really amazing. Since COVID struck, we've been doing 2 meetups a month for BioLadies, and although only a few ladies and some gents can attend at any one time, when they hear what other people are doing, sometimes something clicks and they start collaborating with each other. So networking is not only to find out what is happening in the bioeconomy as a whole globally, it's also to maybe fill in that missing link, something that you don't know, that once you know it, it actually helps you with your own projects. So I couldn't advocate networking more highly. Recently, we did a survey of our members, and we have a wide age range from about 18 to over 65. But we seem to attract more the slightly older. We want to try and push for getting more early career people to join, so that they can start growing their network from an early age, rather than waiting till later when they've sorted out what they're going to be doing, because it might help them to decide what to do for their master's or PhD. The outcomes of why people wanted to join were mainly to get more contacts and to advance professionally. But we've found that besides that, people have been mentored, people have found project partners, people have found support through a difficult time in their life as well, especially nowadays. So the network is achieving more than it originally set out to do. Before I finish, I don't know how much more time I have, I wanted to mention the European Green Deal, and yesterday, which a lot of our members are working on projects on. Plus, yesterday, there was an announcement about the European Bioeconomy Policy Forum, which I think is a big step in the right direction. As I used to work in policy, it is very hard to find the evidence to change policy, and policy takes a long time to change. So this, I think, is a step in the right direction. So hopefully, I'll send you the slides so that people can see the slides. And if you want to join the BioLadies, there's an online application form. Thank you for giving me the platform, George.
Thank you, Iris, for an excellent speech. And yeah, I'd just like to say excellent work with BioLadies, and with my own experience in the UK representing enabling, I've met many great members. Our next speaker will be Susanna Albertini. She does a lot of work in promotion and awareness and support of the bioeconomy, and she'll be talking about the collaboration Enabling has in the context of BioVoices, the European Bioeconomy Network, and the LIFT project. And I think I see that she's just shared her screen, so that's perfect. Thank you. I'll hand over to Susanna.
I just had to unmute myself, and I hope that you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
You do.
Perfect.
Okay, that's great. So I will put it. No, excuse me. This is not the correct presentation. Okay, this is the correct presentation. Okay, so what I would like to present. So first of all, I'm a bioeconomy lady with Iris, and she's doing a great job. But we are also promoting another type of network, that is the European Bioeconomy Network. And so I'm here, and I would like to speak about the synergies between the Enabling project, but also with the European Bioeconomy Network and two projects that are BioVoices and LIFT that were parallel to Enabling. So what is the European Bioeconomy Network? Actually, Iris underlined the fact that networking is absolutely important, and is also very, very important to mutual learn, to share the knowledge, and to try to really create more impact with our activities, with our project and initiatives. And the European Bioeconomy Network started 2 years ago exactly with this purpose. So as you can see now, we have a large number of participants. We have 70 participants, including Enabling. All these are projects and an initiative that are working in support of the bioeconomy. So the promotion, communication, stakeholder engagement, but also other type of activities like creating the innovation ecosystem for the bioeconomy. And in particular with Enabling project, what we did is that we promoted, through the platform, through the European Bioeconomy Network, every project can promote their activities. And therefore, as you see, for instance, in the middle of the screen, there is a today conference. But we also invited several partners, like Sofia, you see Sofia from Química Verde here, in different events, webinars, live events, the picture you see here are from the Maker Fair, that is one of the biggest innovation fairs in the world, I have to say. And therefore, some of the impacts are like this. So collaboration with several project and initiative, invitation as speaker, be invited as speaker like today, and also creation of joint activities. Okay, and then other type of, one of the main outcomes of the European Bioeconomy Network is also to promote this annual workshop with all the partners of the European Bioeconomy Network to really discuss together what are the challenges that should be addressed very quickly and urgently for the bioeconomy uptake. And the European Bioeconomy Network is mentioned in the European Bioeconomy Strategy, and one of the main goals and objectives is exactly to create this annual mobilization and mutual learning event. The last one was done yesterday, so you can find online in the European Bioeconomy Network all the links and even the recording of the day. But there is also open this screen that you see in the middle of my presentation, in which you can collaborate with your ideas about how to communicate bioeconomy in times of COVID. So what are the alternatives of the typical ways we are used to communicate and to even engage the stakeholders. But with Enabling, we also collaborated, my company in particular, in the context of the BioVoices project. And therefore, one of the main activities that had a lot of impact and success was the creation of these cards that are the online education, that is a format promoted by BioVoices. And we had 3 cards in collaboration with Enabling to really address typical challenges, so biomass, if bioeconomy is a promising sector, the regulation. So every project is bringing some hot topics they are particularly addressing. And this was the collaboration with Enabling. But also sharing several news, contents, and different ideas stemming from the project. BioVoice has 4 channels and around 6,500 followers in the different channels. But we also did some nice interviews. We collected what is the circular bioeconomy story of the Enabling project through this interview that is available in all the social media. And then I would like also to mention very quickly the collaboration with the LIFT project. That is another project very interesting because analyzed 65 coordination and support actions in different domains. So not only Horizon 2020, but also Erasmus+, Interreg, but also national projects, and collected all this knowledge in a single place, in a single platform that is the Bioeconomy Library. This is the page, the one that you see here of the Enabling project. And we also ran an interview with some partners of Enabling to try to understand what are the main actionable knowledge stemming from the project to be really put in not only inside of the Bioeconomy Library, but also inside the fact sheet, because LIFT delivered 11 thematic fact sheets, and 2 of them, the one that is related to new value chain and business model, and the one related to biomass availability, quality, supply, and sustainability, are mentioning some results, but also gaps still to be addressed and recommendations stemming from the Enabling project. And very final, we involved Enabling participants, Enabling partners to share their knowledge in the context of, for instance, the BBIJU Stakeholder Forum, but also other events in which we try to collect and convey some recommendation even for the European Commission and BBIJU. And this is the picture you see here is from the BBIJU Stakeholder Forum 2019, where Enabling was invited in the session Value Chain and Innovation Ecosystem. I think I'm done. So these are my contacts if you want to know more of what we do. And I hope we will keep on collaborating beyond the project conclusion through the European Bioeconomy Network or maybe other future activities. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Susanna. Aware of time, I would call on Eugenio Barchiesi of the Sustainable Civil Society Dialogue to give a quick talk, if possible, only 2 or 3 minutes, if that's at all possible, please, as we will be cut off at 20 past.
Barchesi is not online, so I would remember that the connection will be cut at 13:20. So we have no time for questions, but we will answer any question on the chat. Please close the meeting, and bye and thanks everyone.